To welcome you to Newspaper Review on High Impact 102.1 FM. I am Sarah Owusu-Ansah, and when you hear that signature tune, you already know that it's time for Newspaper Review. How has your night been so far? How was your night and how has your week been so far? You know, the elections are fast approaching, 23 days to go, and preparations are at top gear. But today we'll be having interesting conversations. We'll be talking about so many issues happening on the front pages of the dailies this morning. We'll be taking a look at the Punch newspaper, the Guardian newspaper, the Vanguard, as well as the Daily Trust. And you know, if you're following us on social media, you'll see that we posted we'll be having a guest live with us in the studio in person of Dapo Adaramewa, who will be joining the conversation. We'll be taking a look at all of these headlines together. Do you have questions? Is a policy analyst and he's ready to answer any question you have. PVC, fuel, new Naira notes, the ASU saying schools will not shut down for students to participate in elections. Whatever it is, feel free to join the conversation, or you want to share your experience with the new Naira notes. The phone lines are opened. Call us on 0700 1021 1021. You can also send us a WhatsApp message to 0907 224 5018, and we are going to be taking your messages and your calls. We'll take a breather now. When we're back, we'll be going straight into the dailies and we'll have our guest join us to stay tuned.
Join us Mondays to Fridays at 7:05 a.m. to 8 a.m. for freshly baked stories on the Newspaper Review at High Impact 102.1 FM. Follow us on social media at High Impact 102.1 FM or call 0700 1021 1021. You can also send WhatsApp messages to 0907 224 5018. High Impact 102.1 FM, your urban lifestyle station.
Put a touch of class and finesse on your brand by advertising with us at High Impact 1021 FM. For more information, call
0706 393 5694, 0915 958 1881, or 0902 745 3931.
Follow us on our social media platforms at High Impact 1021 FM. Our deals are hotter than the weather itself.
Our deals are hotter than the weather itself.
Welcome back. If you just joined us, this is Newspaper Review on High Impact 102.1 FM. And like I said before we went on the break, we'll be taking a look at some of the headlines on the front pages this morning, and we'll be having a conversation with our guests. Do not forget the number to call 0700 1021 1021. You can also send a WhatsApp message to 0907 224 5018. Before I introduce our guest this morning, I would like to quickly take some major stories on the papers this morning, so that when we start with our guests, we're going straight into the questions for the day. Let's quickly take a look at what's happening on the front page of the Punch newspaper. The major caption has the new Naira scarcity, how Sokoto, Zamfara, Katsina and border residents trade in Sefa. I didn't see that coming though. Well, we'll have that conversation shortly with our guest, and it has a number of riders there. Still on the Punch newspaper, Amos Abiodun clash over performance and abandoned projects race to the elections, all of this. Another attack on INEC office as Anambra gunmen kill teenager and burn 1,240 INEC materials. Details on page 4 and 5. Obi Kwankwaso won't step down for Atiku. That's coming from parties. Those are some of the major stories making rounds on the front page of the Punch newspaper this morning. On the Daily Trust newspaper, still talking about Naira scarcity, hardship lingers as businesses and travel suffer. One killed as police station INEC office bomb in Anambra State. That's coming barely 23 days to the presidential elections. Wike revoked stadium approval for Atiku's campaign in Rivers State. Governorship candidates to defend agenda at media trust debate in Kano. Moving on from that story, Emir of Duse buried amid eulogies, condolences. Cracks widen in APC over Tinubu. That's another story on the front page of the Daily Trust newspaper this morning. To the Guardian newspaper, Buhari for free poll, not against any candidate. Federal government replies El Rufai. We'll take a look at this conversation shortly. 2023 articles government will consider Southeast for topmost position, says PCCDG. Why we prioritize irrigation schemes by Buhari on page 4. Ignore calls to boycott elections. IWA urges Indigo. Details on page 7. Wike accuses police of supporting instigators of political violence in Rivers State. You can get details of that story on page 8. And the last paper we'll be taking before we have our guest join the conversation is the Vanguard newspaper this morning. On the front page, El Rufai says elements in Aso Villa want APC to lose elections. Presidential polls, Rivers people already know who I'm supporting. That's according to Wike. Judge withdraws from suit challenging NDDC board. Meanwhile, Beavers, INEC to conduct mock accreditation in Delta State on the 4th of February, which is on Saturday. Okowa restates government's commitment to empower Deltans. And the last story we'll be taking on the Vanguard newspaper, Ogun governorship poll, Amosu dares APC, leads campaign to ADC. Those are the major headlines we have on the front page of the dailies this morning. If you want to catch up with anyone, like you want to get more details about it, you can get a copy of these papers. But let's delve straight into the conversation of the day. I told you I have my guest already with me in the studio in person of Dapo, Adaramewa, a policy consultant. Good morning, Dapo. Thank you for joining us on the review.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Happy new month.
Same to you.
And I will say Happy New Year because this is the first time we're actually seeing this year. Happy New Year. So let's start from this angle. Let me get your new Naira note experience so far.
Okay, so
let's start from there.
Let's go with my most recent one.
Okay.
So yesterday, I managed to get some cash. I think the day before yesterday at the POS operator at a normal rate. Okay. So I guess I didn't really understand the scale of the problem until yesterday. I called my account officer. And, I have a corporate account, so I was like, oh, I need some money to run my business, And all she could say was, my 70-year-old father has been asking me for cash because he doesn't have an app and I can't provide for him.
Wow.
So you can understand the scale of the problem. I called another bank account officer, same thing. The banks themselves don't have. The bankers themselves don't have. The money is just not there.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So that's a number of people have this challenge. I also experienced it. For mine, yeah. The rate was, for instance, if you're withdrawing 10,000 naira, you pay 10%, which is 1,000 naira. If you're withdrawing 15,000 naira, you pay 1,500 naira. That is how it has been. But let's talk about the policy itself. This conversation has been on for a while now, and we saw the new Naira notes come into circulation on the 15th of December 2022, and there's been some bickering here and there, inviting the CBN governor, which eventually appeared before Senate on Tuesday, and all of that. With the invention or with the new policy of the new Naira notes, do you think that it's our economy is going to get better on one hand, and do you think that this would really curb the issue of vote buying and reduce inflationary pressure in Nigeria at large?
I think probably definitely maybe reduce inflationary pressure. In terms of stopping vote buying, I think that's a bit unrealistic, really.
But that was one of the
the selling points. But if there's anything we know about Nigeria is that once a resource gets scarce, it will just increase in cost, which is what we've seen. Now, there are some people who are very happy to pay 10%, to collect 1 billion in cash because they know it's going to buy them a governorship seat. So these people are not being denied access to cash. That's not really who is going to suffer. It's the people on the ground level, the people who don't even know their account officer, let alone have his phone number to call. It's the people who need it for paying for Okada, paying for bus, all those basic things. Those are the people that are going to suffer. The politicians won't be affected by it. Not in my...
Does that mean that one of the major reasons for bringing this new Naira note this soon is going to be defeated? Because the elections are fast approaching.
Yeah, definitely. If anything, it will even make the people so desperate that when they get to that polling unit and they see cash, their brain will just be shaking them like, something I haven't seen in so long. They'll be excited to even see the money. They will sell everything that they can. So it's a good idea, but again, the execution of it so far is just, raw incompetence. It's the same thing that happened, I think, was it NIN? In the middle of COVID, you just declare a short deadline. People are climbing over each other at NIN offices. People are extorting people to get their NIN. It's shambles.
So, I was going to ask, the Naira note was extended. The deadline for the phasing out of the old Naira note was extended by 10 days. Do you see the possibility of another extension? Because so far, since the extension, we're supposed to start using the new Naira note as the official legal tender from yesterday, which was the 1st of February, and now it has been moved to next week, Friday, which is the 10th of February. Do you see the possibility of another extension? Because there's still so much bickering. Access to cash is not cash is not even available. Both the old and the new people are struggling to make use of ATMs, POS, even in the banking halls. There have been different videos trending on social media about people creating and causing a scene in banking halls because they don't have access to money and all of that. From your perspective, with the look of things and with the way all of these things are playing out, do you see the possibility of another extension so that this can be properly inducted, this whole system, people can familiarize themselves with it properly?
I think that's the only realistic option that's going to come up in the end. They're going to keep extending and extending and extending. Because
but if they keep extending and extending and extending, let's remember that the election is 23 days away. And this is supposed to come into play before the elections.
I think they might have realized that this ploy is going to fail, but they won't want to admit it straight away and just say, okay, let's extend it by 6 months or whatever. But they have to admit that it's not going to get done at this pace anyway, where people actually want the new Naira, but it's just not there for them to have. It's clearly, I don't even know, where is a willful incompetence, shall we say? I mean, I know the APC candidate has theorized as to why this is happening, and I think we're going to get to that.
Okay. Some experts, analysts have said that naturally, according to a certain act, a certain TBN act, what is supposed to be in force is the new Naira note and the old Naira note in use simultaneously, and over time the old Naira note phases out naturally. But that's not the conversation that is coming to play. What we are hearing now is even after the deadline, banks will still be open to accept the old Naira note, but there was no specific conversation of it being used by the citizens, just that banks will be accepting it. So what do you make of all of this? Having the new Naira notes is come on, people are saying that's what it's supposed to be, but that's not what we're seeing. Do we see a possibility of eventually falling back to that scheme?
I think they're one and the same. If you look at it, if the banks accept it as legal tender, then it's tradable tender. Do you understand? Like, if the banks are going to accept it as a deposit and credit my account, then you have no reason to doubt collecting it from me.
But there's no specific information that says, okay, you can use it as a legal tender outside the banking halls.
They don't have to say that, but if you are owing me 20k now, and I know that if you give me in old notes, I will still be able to deposit in my bank, I will collect it from you now.
But not everybody, not everybody has this perspective. Not every Nigerian has this knowledge. The moment they hear that once it's February 10 and there's no extension, even if you give them old Naira notes, they will not collect it.
True.
So how then do we handle that kind of situation? Because I've seen different things in this space. I've been sharing my experiences on the review. People still telling you, we don't accept transfer. You can't pay with your card.
No, even the transfers have been having issues.
Yes,
lately.
yes.
I think the demand on their networks have been so much that they can't handle it. And again, it makes you wonder how a well-paid organization like the CBN cannot have somebody analyze the potential impacts of their actions. Like, did nobody think that, okay, if we force everybody to do transfers, it's going to stress this interbanking system? Are you telling me they don't have somebody who is paid well enough to think?
Well, how about we say that this is time for the telecommunication operators as well as commercial banks to work together and strengthen the platform? Because I think that at this time, we need to channel our energy into the e-banking platforms without waiting for the Apex Bank to probably do an analysis or a survey or bring in somebody to talk about the impact. I think we have to take it upon ourselves, because there's so much, like you said, so many people are now making use of that channel. Roadside vendors, small supermarkets, even people that sell frozen food will tell you now you can transfer to me. But some persons are still saying, I don't accept transfer. You can't pay with your card. You have to give me cash, and there's no cash, and they don't want to accept the new Naira note. So when you were saying that if the banks accept it as legal tender for deposit after the deadline, it's just logical that we know that we can use it. I don't see the possibility of that coming, because of the system we operate and the mindset of Nigerians.
I think that's very true. I think there's a certain sector of Nigerians that would just rather err on the side of caution in that kind of case and just flat out refuse accepting it. I think the problem will continue, and you can't blame some of these people who are also refusing to accept transfers, because some of them don't even have a smartphone. Some of them don't really have an active account. These are people who live in a cash-based economy.
So what is going to happen in that, for instance, a rural community where the telecommunication service is really poor over there? They can't even make calls. If they want to make calls, they probably have to walk miles to receive a signal, and they are not properly sensitized about this whole process. What then happens to businesses in that area, people living in that area? What is going to be the solution? Is this going to take effect at all local government areas in every state at every level, or some people will still be left out eventually?
I think we're seeing that, and in Lagos we are lucky. We see at every street corner, we see a bank, we see a church. That's what we have. But there are many parts of this country where an entire local government does not even have a single bank. So I think what we're going to end up with is another situation where people at the top make a decision and people at the bottom pay the price. I don't know if this is the one thing that will now make people so upset that they do something drastic on election day and vote. But it's, we've had a long history of just a government taking policies that inconvenience people and looking the other way. And I'm afraid that that's exactly what could happen in this situation. Those who can adjust will adjust. Those who can't will pay a price. And everybody will just pretend as if, it's a normal situation.
Which is not normal at all.
It's not normal at all. I'm hoping that, this is the straw that broke the camel's back. I'm hoping that, people on election day think to themselves, for the past couple of weeks, I've not had money to spend, even though I have it in my account. I've not had petrol in my car.
We're coming to that petrol conversation.
So why would I vote the same way I've been voting before? I hope so.
Right. You can be a part of the conversation. Do not forget the phone lines are open. Call us on 0700-1021-1021. You can send a WhatsApp message to 0907-224-5018. We have a message here, but I would like to take it when we're talking about that particular issue. Now, let's talk about, we'll be going on a break very soon, but before we go on a break, let me get your fuel scarcity experience. How has it been so far? At what rate are you buying petrol for? How long do you have to queue? What is the situation like at your end?
I think the highest I've paid so far now has been 400 per liter.
In Lagos State?
Yes. Yeah. I don't know if I'm one of the lucky ones or unlucky ones, because I've been hearing
400 is actually on the high side.
Is that the high side?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So maybe I'm paying the most. But that's just the way it is. My car, has experienced more time on the red light than it ever had prior to this. And the strange part is, it just keeps going. You think you've seen the end. I remember I was thinking, okay, Christmas is coming up. This was my thinking. Christmas is coming up. I'm sure they'll fix it for Christmas now.
That's what I was going to say. That did you project this fuel scarcity staying for this long? Because Christmas, New Year, preparation for the elections, and this is February. The scarcity is still on. But your projections that this is going to take so much time, didn't you think it's just a short period of time and everything will be resolved?
I think we Nigerians were very optimistic. We somehow we are like, it will soon. But so far, this one doesn't seem to be going anywhere. And I am amazed to see. In fact, I think I tweeted something yesterday. I was like, if a government managed to hold on to power when there's petrol scarcity, naira scarcity, dollar scarcity, and huge inflation, maybe Nigerians have a love-hate relationship with suffering.
So, in regards to fuel subsidy, now we know that the conversation has been for years. We've been having fuel scarcity, fuel subsidy, and all that. In your perspective, what is your take on all this removal of subsidy or no removal of subsidy?
I think we're seeing that the subsidy is pretty much off right now, isn't it? If people are paying 300 naira, some petrol stations are selling 200 and something. If it's just demand and supply that's determining the price of fuel, then I don't see that there is a subsidy anymore. I think it's just a way for people to take money out of the system.
All right, you can be a part of the conversation. Like I said, the phone lines are open. Join the conversation. Call us on 0700-1021-1021. You can also send a WhatsApp message to 0907-224-5018. We'll go on a break now. When we're back, we'll be delving into other issues, and I'll take the message I have here once we are back. Do stay tuned to Newspaper Review on High Impact 102.1 FM.
Put a touch of class and finesse on your brand by advertising with us at High Impact 1021 FM. For more information,
call 0706 393 5694, 0915 958 1881, or 0902 745 39.